Hey guys, what's going on? This is another episode. I am your host, AD the RPA guy, and on this channel, I help you simplify your journey into tech. And on today's episode, I have a very, very, very special guest, a childhood friend. We're like cousins, we're like brothers. This is a good conversation, and this guy doesn't realize how valuable he is, his insight is. Bro, I think you're one of those guys where like you've just been doing it for so long, and what's common sense to you, you don't realize that like the people who are never been in this industry and they're trying to transfer from trucking to tech, or from food service to tech, or from HR to tech. They don't know anything. So just a crumb of wisdom from you is like mind blowing from them, right? So before I get into that, I definitely want to make the proper introduction. So I tell people, bro, I've known you and your family so long that like I don't remember not knowing y'all. Right. So like we literally grew up, lived on the same street at one point. You went to college, so I went to college. You studied computer science, so I studied computer science. You ended up becoming a Kappa. I didn't really get that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? You got in corporate.
Technicalities.
Right. You started a consulting business using, your technologies. And so like a lot of what I do, I guess I'm saying is like you paved the way. Like you made all the mistakes. I'll never forget, bro. I was at UNT. And I'm gonna have him tell your story. But I was at UNT, and I remember I had got my first internship. I was trying to get my first internship, and it was gonna be an unpaid one. And I was on the phone with you. I was telling you about it. You were like, nigga, don't you ever take an unpaid internship as a software developer. And I would have taken it had you not said that, right? Yeah. Which I also had a child at that time, so it was important that I bring in income and things like that.
Right.
But yeah, man. That being said, I want to introduce you guys to Malcolm McFly. Malcolm, how you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing good. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk some shit with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, again, my audience are people who they really, really want to be in tech, and they don't know this, but I know this. They don't know what the hell they're doing, okay? So we just have simple conversations. I try to tell them I'm not super, smart or super educated. I'm a simple guy who keeps things simple. I believe that RPA is the simplest tech skill that anyone can learn today to get in, right? Obviously, you write code, and that's like, to me, a 10 out of 10 difficulty. But anyway, I want to tell people about you, your background, and then after all of that, I want to jump into how you think AI is going to change the industry, right? And just so the audience knows, this is like one of the only people who I talk tech with. Like, I don't care to talk about tech. This guy's smart. So when he's saying trends are happening, I've seen him be accurate. So I listen to everything he says. I recommend that y'all do too, right? So how did you get your start in tech? Let's start there.
I kind of fell into it. Growing up in Houston, as you know, I thought I was gonna be a famous rapper. That's what I thought I was gonna do.
That's all young black men.
I thought I was gonna be a famous rapper, but what it turned out though is I wasn't as great as a rapper. I was a better writer. I was really skilled at writing. And out of high school, I got a creative writing scholarship to go to UNT.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yes, I got a creative writing scholarship. I know.
I feel like you purposely didn't tell nobody that.
Well, yeah, So
what you do? I'm a creative writer, baby.
So when I got to UNT, seriously, I was majoring in English creative writing. That's what I was going to do because I want to keep the scholarship money. But what turns out is that in high school, I was really good at writing 3 to 5 page papers. I was real good at that. But once it got past that and it got to like 12 to 20 page papers, I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. I had to change my major. I couldn't do that. Like writing long form content was very challenging for me anyway.
Sounds like you didn't enjoy it.
I didn't enjoy it. I like writing songs and stuff like that. Short form content, but writing like 12 to 15 page papers, that wasn't my forte. And I'm gonna date myself a little bit. While I was in college, the iPhone came out. That's how old I am.
Old as fuck.
The iPhone came out, and
so this was 2000 what?
I can't 2005 or 6, something like 2007. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of them years, the iPhone dropped, and it set the world on fire. Everybody had to have this iPhone at the time. It was really expensive, by the way. No one knew how to write apps for it. And there was a large community of developers at the school, like, let's try to write some apps for it. And I was one of them. I was like interested in writing apps for it. literally never wrote code a day in my life. Coming off.
Was this freshman year?
This is freshman year.
Interesting. Okay.
Never wrote code a day in my life. Literally just came from like writing papers. But you know, I knew how to burn CDs. I knew how to write songs. I felt like I knew MySpace styling and shit like that, which isn't exactly coding if you know about MySpace.
Yeah.
But I felt like I knew my way around tech a little bit. I figured I could do it. But the thing was, to develop for the iPhone, you needed an Apple computer. Okay. And Apple computers, which are still very expensive today, were very expensive back in the day as well.
Did they have laptops back then, or was these the big booty computers?
These were the big iMacs. They were big.
Okay.
And so I couldn't afford a MacBook. And the school I went to didn't have Mac computers. So literally, if you wanted to develop for the iPhone, you needed to have a Mac computer.
So that sounds like that was just out the picture.
It was out the picture until Verizon came out with the Droid phone. Okay. It wasn't Verizon. What's the company? Motorola. Okay. Came out with the first Android phone. Okay. And with Android, you can use any computer to develop with it. Okay. So I said, cool, let me just do my Hello World project, which I know a lot of y'all are probably working on the Hello World. So I started.
They don't even know what that is, bro. I'm telling you.
Okay. A very beginning level piece of app software is like a Hello World project. So I worked on my first little project and I made it.
And that's just so that people know, that's an app where you just print the words "Hello World" on the screen somehow, some way. That's what that is.
That's it. I built that, and I got super excited. So excited that I changed my major to computer science. I was like, okay, for some reason I felt like this was going to be big. At the time I had a Sidekick phone. You know, that's also how old I am. I had a Sidekick phone.
Bro, I wanted a Sidekick so bad. You had a Sidekick? I wanted a Sidekick, bro.
I love the Sidekick. I love the swivel. And I was fascinated with, man, I could possibly write some apps that be on this damn Sidekick. And so I changed my major to computer science, lost my scholarship, obviously, because I'm not an English major anymore. And I went and talked to the dean of engineering. He took this interest in a couple of other students that we had at the school and created a course around mobile software development, which was like crazy. It was brand new. He didn't even know what he was doing. We were just meeting up in the classroom 3 times a week, talking about it and working on Hello World programs, essentially.
Something so basic.
No one knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And so, and that's kind of what kicked it off for me. I picked it as a major and did really well in all the computer science classes.
All of them, even algorithms and data structures.
I did. Now,
that was a difficult one.
Then I changed my major to computer engineering. Okay. Just to challenge myself, which is a terrible idea because the math was crazy. Yeah. You get an engineering degree, the math is crazy. Yeah. So basically, I went on to like make straight A's in all my engineering students and engineering classes, and probably straight C's in all the advanced level math. so I was really good at coding, by the way, and that's kind of what kicked it off for me, man. I got the first internship with JP Morgan Chase, which I got through my membership of Kappa Alpha Psi. And so I used the fraternity to kind of get a little leverage there. And I just kept bouncing from internship to internship.
Wait. Pause. So I'll never forget. This is, I don't know if you remember this moment. So we were in Houston. The house that we were living in at the time had burnt down.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
I still don't know how that happened. I think I know how it happened. I don't know. But then you're working with, I think, Cutco at the time.
Oh, man.
And then you write this program because you knew how old I was at the time. Maybe I was 12, 13.
Yeah, yep.
And you wrote a program using the what is that? The Windows command prompts?
Yeah, it was a terminal program.
Yeah, terminal program. I still don't know how to do that. Yeah. And then like it asked me what my age was. And like obviously you knew my age. And so when I would lie, it would be like, that's not your age. And then I would put my real age and it was like, okay, that's your age.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, this shit is so cool. You can get a job doing this. And I remember, I think you may or may not have an internship at that point. And I remember thinking like, what the fuck do you go to a company, dress up, put a belt and a shirt on and do for 8 hours? What are you doing for 8 hours a day, bro? Do you recall writing that program?
I do recall writing that program. Yep. That was a Unix scripting I did. I wrote that. Very simple.
Yes.
If-else statements.
Yes.
You guys have probably learned that.
Yes.
Very cool if-else statements. And again, this was before kind of phone animations had taken step. Like before smartphones came out, people were just writing terminal programs to do shit. Everything looked ugly. You know what I mean? And then when mobile phones came, they was like, okay, we're gonna make this look nice. We're gonna make this enjoyable, and that's how user experience came into play. So now everything has to look great on the mobile device. It has to be responsive and but yeah, that was kind of my homework assignment, essentially, what you were looking at.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you got your first internship at, you said, Chase.
Yeah, JP Morgan Chase in Dallas.
And doing Android development, right?
No.
What were we doing?
Android development, mobile development was so new at the time. Chase Bank didn't even have an app. You know, this was pre-app.
Okay.
And so they had me. I don't really know what they had me doing. I was just going to work every day. Sorry, Chase. I was getting that money. Also, when they first hired me, they said it was going to pay me $30 an hour. And I was like, that's the most money I ever made.
Yes.
It's probably the most money anybody in my family ever made.
Yeah.
For an internship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he told me about an unpaid internship, I was like,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Straight up.
But yeah, they had me doing Java programming, and it's been so long ago, I don't even know what I was doing, but I was literally just going to work learning. Because I didn't know Java. I was learning it at work, which is what an internship is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a situation for you to learn. But nowadays, companies pimp you out and have you doing the real work for that discount, the internship discount.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just learning, really.
Okay. So then when did you start doing Android development professionally? And then when did you start doing like contracts on the side? And like, because at one point, bro, you probably don't recall all these conversations we had, but like there are moments where I've had conversations with you, and we don't talk all the time, bro. We might speak 2, 3, 4 times a year, right? But there are conversations where I've had with you that I can go back to a conversation. I was like, okay, this day on this conversation, I made this decision because he said he did this and it worked for him, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know, when did you start doing mobile development professionally, right? And then when did you start doing it? Like, I'm assuming you had a job doing whatever, and then you also started doing contracting, doing mini projects for people, doing mobile development.
Yeah, so I got my first job at Texas Instruments in Dallas.
I remember that.
Yep. I had studied all this mobile development. Well, no, I'm not gonna say study. I took a class on it, but I was so interested in it, I dived in individually on my own time. So by the time I graduated, I consider myself a mobile developer, even though that job wasn't even a title yet.
You basically got ahead of the curve.
Very much ahead of it. Like by the time I graduated, I was probably what you would consider a mid-level developer in an industry that just came out.
So really a senior.
Well, yeah, you could say that.
If the most senior person has a year, and you've been doing it 3 years, why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
You're basically a senior.
If Android just came out in 2006, and it's 2008, and I've been doing it 2 years.
Yes, you have more experience in it than anyone could possibly have.
I would say so. Yeah. And I got a job at Texas Instruments in Dallas off, I think, Lyndon B. Johnson Highway, whatever. And I worked there for a year and hated it because they sent me back to the terminal. Like I was doing terminal programming again. No UI, none of that, none of the mobile stuff. And I hated it. I really did hate it. The whole time I was there, I dreaded it. And I was looking for my way back into mobile. Texas Instruments had a huge contract with Apple a long time ago. They were making the Apple chips in the iPhone, and that was exploding. But they had no jobs for mobile at the time. So the whole time I'm there, I'm like applying for mobile positions, trying to find something. Literally 1 year out of college, But good thing is the industry's so new. So, okay, we'll take a shot on them. So then I got a job at a company called Apptricity. All they did was make apps. That's a Dallas company. Wasn't there long, though, because I very quickly understood that I wasn't going to be loyal to these corporations.
Okay. So you for the streets.
I'm about that almighty mean green. I went to mean green. I bought the mean green. I ain't about the dollar. Because what happened was I saw Texas Instruments laying people off because Apple had decided they want to make their own chips. We don't need Texas Instruments anymore. Make our own shit. They started laying people off. And then very quickly I said, I don't need to be loyal to these companies. I need to just go chase this money. And I did that. I ended up chasing that money. So probably over the next 5 years, I would probably change jobs every single year. Mm-hmm. I would change,
which is a decent strategy these days.
I didn't know at the time.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I felt kind of guilty, but I would change jobs every single year. I work 12 months, leave, salary bump every time, 10,000, 10,000, 15,000 every time. I did it every year for like 5 years, and by that time, where did I end up at? I ended up at Dell. By that time, literally, very quickly, 5 years, already making $100,000 at Dell as an Android developer, and I was then considered a senior at that time. Yeah, that was my first senior development role.
Okay. So then, 5 years you said out of college. Now you're making $100,000. You ended up switching jobs every year.
Started at 65.
I did the same thing.
I started at 65.
Yeah.
In 5 years, I was at 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did contracting come in?
Oh, very good question. So,
when I say contracting, I mean you doing work on the side.
On the side.
Yeah.
So once I got a taste of the 100,000, which is like, that's your goal, right? Like, I want to make 6 figures.
Because you ain't never made it before.
Yeah, like you want to make 6 figures.
And then you get it and you realize this is not a lot of money.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I got 100,000. I was like, this ain't enough money.
Yeah.
And then I discovered contracting.
Okay.
What I found is that a lot of tech companies, it's cheaper for them to hire contractors. Because when they hire you full time, they got to pay for your benefits, they got to pay for your vacation,
health insurance,
they got to pay
for stuff,
training you, sign on bonuses. You know, every time they add somebody, they got to pay for that email account. They got to issue a computer. So signing up someone to work as for a job is very costly, whether you know it or not. And so a lot of companies at the time, and still today, prefer to hire people who are contractors, meaning they give you an hourly rate for doing some set amount of task. And then, so at the time, I found out that this mobile development shit was a specialized skill. It wasn't, you can't get a mobile development degree.
It's too new.
Yeah, you couldn't get a mobile, you probably can't even do it now. There's no such thing as a mobile engineering.
There might be. They have AI degrees, bro.
Okay, well,
so why wouldn't they have mobile? Now, it don't mean the degrees work shit. Or it's good, but they have it. Colleges are monetizing people wanting to get into it. Absolutely.
Which goes back to a thing. I took one mobile development class in college.
Yeah.
And ended up pretty much teaching myself everything else that would pave the way for my career. So you might think, well, damn, why'd I spend all that time in college? I think about that all the time, especially when them loan emails hit about them loan payments.
My thing was, I didn't struggle. I got good grades in college.
Yeah.
But I would go to class, not understand what the hell the instructor was saying, be confused, get on YouTube to then learn it. So I ended up learning everything on YouTube anyway.
Well, yes, kind of. YouTube wasn't out when I changed my major.
Oh, okay.
So
all the shit I learned was online for free.
I remember I got my first book. It was like Mobile Development for Dummies.
Oh, that's how old this was.
You
had to buy books.
You had to buy a book. But yeah, once I got that 100,000, I was like, man, this look like a lot of money on paper, but really it ain't a lot of money. And
your friends and family think it's a lot of money, and you're like, bro, no, it's not.
No.
But they don't believe you.
No, they don't believe you. It's not a lot of money because they started taking out the money for the 401k. They started talking about the money for the insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, taxes. You know, you think you're getting taxed now. Wait till you get up in them 6 figures, they're going to tax you. So it wasn't a lot of money. And I said, man, I got a specialized set of skills. So what I did was I already had an LLC. I had created an LLC. Why? I don't know. I think I was going to like, I had ambitions to do writing. I wanted to do writing for stuff. I had created an LLC. And so I would go to like dice.com. I'm not even sure they use that no more.
I do. Yes.
It was like Dice, Indeed, all this stuff. And they had contract roles. And I would apply for these contract roles. They'd call me. And a lot of them would let you work remote, which working remote in the mid 2000s was amazing. I would say, and I'm going on a tangent here, I think COVID killed remote work for engineers because engineers were always very sufficient working remote. We were the greatest at doing this shit. And then when COVID hit, they said, oh, we're going to let everybody work remote. And then you got people in marketing and accounting.
They fucked it up for everybody else.
They weren't as efficient and as productive as we were. So what companies said was everybody's less productive under remote circumstances, which is not true. Engineers have always been very productive working remotely, but all these other professions killed it. And so when COVID left, they were like, nope, nobody's remote anymore because no one's productive, which is not true. So anyway, so very, very early on, I was getting these remote contracts.
Okay.
And I said, man, I work my own hours. And my day job was, it wasn't that challenging. By that time, I thought I was a very good mobile developer. So I had like an extra 6 hours to do whatever I wanted to do before work or even at lunch break or after work. And these things were coming in. These contracts coming in. They started at like 45 an hour, 55 an hour. I think the last contract I worked like last year was $150 an hour doing mobile development work. So I was like, man, if you have a lot of free time, and this is like a passion of mine, like if I wasn't coding, let's say I was a professional rapper, which I wish I was. If I was a professional rapper, I probably still would be like coding on the side as a hobby.
Because you just enjoy it like that.
Because I just enjoy doing that shit.
Hey, bro, you are confusing. Because the people don't know. This guy's been saying for the last few years, bro, I'm done writing code. This year, I ain't writing code no more. Now you're saying, but what it sounds more so like is you don't want to write code for a living.
Well,
you'd rather write code that you enjoy writing, that you can be all in control of everything. But that's not what you want to do for 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
Well, let me clear it up. I like writing code. I like writing code for me. I don't like for someone to be like, hey, Malcolm, build this and this and this and that, build that, build this. You know, I much rather build my own dream than building someone else's dream with code. Okay. I enjoy coding my own dreams.
Got it.
So that's a love-hate relationship.
I got you. So back to what I was saying about the key pivotal conversations, right? I just saw what you did with the Android thing, and we had a conversation one time. And if some people watching this, they're gonna hear me say what I've said to them before. We had a conversation, bro, and I was like trying to find like what's my thing. Your thing was Android development. I tried it. I was like, bro, this is too complicated for me. All these, it wasn't just the code. It was all the fucking files. They're all over the place. It's a lot of files, bro.
Yeah, it is.
I can write code.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy writing code to the degree that you do.
Yeah.
But it's just knowing what code goes where is too confusing. So when RPA came along, I was like, okay, this is going to be my thing. And what I recall a conversation me and you had was, you were like, yeah, man, I got started. You were like, Google bought Android in like 2007. Right. And so you got started in like 2008. And like basically what I heard you say was I got involved in something very, 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 very early on before anyone knew what it was.
That's right.
No one walking down the street knew what it was. No one knew what it was. I was like, damn. That's right. No one knows what the fuck RPA is, right? You then said, okay, I think that this is going to be huge. It's going to be in demand over the next few decades.
Yeah.
I saw, okay, I think RPA is also going to be in demand over the next few years, right?
Right.
And I saw some data that says that in 2020, RPA was a $3 billion industry. By 2030, they're expecting it to be a $30 billion industry, right? And there was a third thing I'm forgetting. It was something that's relatively new that the market doesn't know about and that is going to be in high demand. Yeah, so those are the three things. And then you literally, I remember one time you were like, yeah, bro, I only take on contracts that I find fun.
Yeah,
I was like, imagine this is me. I forget what I'm doing. I'm making like 85,000 at the moment at that time, and I was like, bro, imagine being in a place where you're like, I only take on work that I enjoy. And it's not even about the money at that point. I was like, how do I get there? And you literally told me, you was like, all right, bro, all you gotta do is start a website, create a website, write some articles, put some pictures up, like make yourself look like an authority figure, bro. I did that. And my life has never been the same.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is why I tell people, obviously I had access to you since a young child, so I didn't have to like pay you, but like pay people. You gave me like 3 instructions: make a website, write some blogs, make yourself look like an authority figure, and reach out to people on LinkedIn. And that's really all it took, bro. That's how I was able to go from, 60,000 coming out of college to 70, 85, 100,000, $250,000, $500,000 in tech, literally just following in your footsteps. Yeah. Right. So I just bro, I've never said thank you. Thank you for going ahead, making all the mistakes so I didn't have to.
No, I'm just, I just start running my mouth, man. I think, establishing yourself as an authority figure in a subject.
Yep.
You don't have to even know everything you're saying is correct. if you say it, people believe it.
Yes. But here's the other thing, bro. What percentage, one of the things I tell people is that most people are average at almost everything they do. Yeah. And average is not good.
I believe that.
What do you think the average, like your capacity, right? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like the best Android developers, where do you think you fall on that scale?
A 7 easily.
Okay. Where do you think the average person falls?
Probably 7.
I don't think so, bro.
Listen.
How many people have you ever worked with somebody and you're thinking, bro, I don't know how the fuck you got this job because you suck at what you do?
Okay, well, that's true.
So they've got to be like 2 or 3.
Well,
if you're a 7, they got to be a 2 or 3. Or do you think? I think the reality is, bro, you're a 10, and average has to be like a 4 or 5 because that's what average is.
That could be true. That could be true. I don't hold myself in high regard technically. I've never been a person that said, "Oh, I'm the best developer. This is the architecture we're going to use, and I'm gonna call all the shots on the project." Right. The thing that I had over a lot of people is that I'm just going to outwork you. Like the YouTube video you watch, I already watched 20 of them. The books you wrote, I already read all those books. Like I'm simply going to outwork you, and I'm gonna have more drive and determination than you. You're going to be smarter. But I'm gonna outwork you, and that's just what I've been doing for a long time. I just been outworking the whole industry. Talk about contracts, man. I held 3-4 contracts at once,
bro. You know what? That's another thing.
Yeah.
On the outworking part, I will give you that. You will learn so many different things over the course of a year or 3 months or a month. Like you are always learning something new. I'm like, bro, I don't want to do that. I do not. And luckily with RPA, I have not had to.
I'm a little bit jealous of RPA, to be honest with you. Seeing the journey I went through, it was like through the fucking mud. And you just kind of like, seriously, RPA like takes the jacket off and says, here, walk over this.
Yes.
And it's like really like a accelerated path into
You
tech.
don't have to learn how to code to do this shit. That's what I'm telling. So when I tell people, bro, I came up coding, which is a 10 out of 10 difficulty. Bro, so I read a stat that said, this was many, many years ago, so I don't know what it is today.
Yeah.
The average professional software developer only writes 8 new lines of code per day.
That's pretty bad.
Well, I mean, that's just what it was, right?
Yeah.
And so when you look at RPA, for example, I have a video on my YouTube channel right now where I went to Fiverr. I can have a whole conversation with you because you understand it. I went to Fiverr. I paid somebody $50, right? I gave them very simple requirements. I said, create me a web page. An HTML page. It doesn't need to look pretty. It just needs to be functional.
Right.
Where there's a text box, someone can type in the name of a city, Detroit, Houston, whatever, right? And then they can click enter, and then it goes and gets the weather for that city from Google or wherever the fuck you get the weather from, and it displays it on the screen. That's it.
Okay.
It's about 200 to 300 lines of code.
Well,
it's 200 to 300 lines of code, but it's also including HTML and all that, right? So they delivered me one document that had JavaScript and everything
HTML,
in it, right?
CSS, all
and
that
I
stuff.
put that on the screen, and I'm certain that the average person watching the video has no clue what the fuck that is. It just looks like alien hieroglyphics to them.
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to build a bot within 6 minutes that does all the same steps.
Yeah, that's a cheat code, bro.
And so I tell people it is advanced. It's like coding, but it's an advanced way of doing it. I tell people it's the equivalent of you building homes using brick and mortar and me 3D printing homes. You get on your hands and knees, and I just press a button, that bitch prints a wall, and I push it again, and press another wall and another wall. I thank God for RPA. It has changed my life.
No, I think it's great. I mean, I think RPA crawled so that AI agents can walk.
Yes.
Right? Like all this stuff is kind of in the same ballpark.
Yes.
Automating things, using AI and AI agents. It's just the next level.
Yes.
And to have gotten into RPA so early, like you on the on the threshold of that.
Yes.
So it's pretty
bro,
pretty
again,
awesome.
I got in it the same way, bro. Like the first RPA program I think came out in like 2010. It probably wasn't very good. The first real major RPA company that went public in 2017.
Okay, was that RPA Anywhere or
no? That was UiPath.
Oh, UiPath. Okay,
UiPath. I think I'm doing that wrong. Automation Anywhere is still not public.
Oh, okay.
I am a shareholder. I want them to go public. Please go public. But maybe I got UiPath wrong. But what I'm saying is the major dominant company today in the space. I'm pretty sure they got started around 2014 and 2017. I jumped in 2019. So I was there in the very beginning. And I've just been a senior ever since, right? And all I have to do is learn small updates here and there. I don't need to learn new fucking languages or new frameworks or anything like that.
Right.
It is great. So I'm glad you brought up AI. So now we can switch to the conversation. By the way, at the end of this, just to help you know, the viewers at home and things like that, I'm going to be asking him, hey, if it were you today, you were starting over, you wanted to get into tech, what would you do? I'm going to ask you at the very end. I was going to ask now, but I know we want to have the AI conversation because that's going to be a total game changer, right? So we had this conversation earlier. How does Malcolm see AI changing the landscape of tech, and how do you think that's going to impact people who are in the industry and who want to get in the industry?
I think it's gonna have a lot of positive effects and a lot of negative effects. And I'm saying that as a person who also uses AI. You know, I can code, but also I use AI for certain things. You know, writing unit tests or writing documentation. But if there's going to be some positives and some negatives to this whole AI swing. Negatives is it's eliminating the junior engineer or the just starting up developer.
You're saying that there's going to be no space, no jobs, no nothing for entry-level developers. Is what I'm hearing you say.
You're out.
That's scary.
You're out. You're done. I mean, I've seen some studies with Purdue, how they were getting so many computer science majors come in that they had to like put a cap on who could major in that.
Interesting.
And a lot of these people that are graduating are having very difficult times finding jobs on the entry-level side.
And so that's where you got that outcome of you think it's going to be hard for entry-level people. And that's a good point because that's Purdue.
Yeah,
that's a prestigious school.
Go look at Reddit. You know, go look at some of these job boards. People are complaining about, one, the interviews are terribly tough, or two, they can't find anything at all. And
wait, let me pause you there because. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just I'm giving another perspective on it. Obviously, you're more in the weeds than I am. But when you say interviews are tough, again, going back to what I said earlier, most people suck at most things they do. So, one, these people probably suck. I've graduated with people who cheated their entire way through computer science. I know. They were trying to cheat off me.
That's true. That's true.
I met freshman year and then senior year. I'm like, nigga, you didn't learn how to code at all? We were, oh my goodness. But so I look at that and I factor that in. And then I also say, okay, hard. Are you talking about Facebook, Netflix, Google? Yeah, those are going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Those are always going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, if you're talking about smaller companies that are like local to like Dallas or Miami or New York, that's different, right? And then two, you said they're having a hard time or they're difficult. Most people suck at interviewing, bro.
That is true.
They suck at it. So I'm factoring all of that in. To what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, right? Yeah. There's AI. There's oversaturation of people who are not that talented at the job. There's also outsourcing, which is not talked about enough. Yeah. Outsourcing to India, to China, even Western European countries are doing it now.
I'm seeing Colombia.
Yes, yes. Latam is doing it. So now you're competing with people who are interviewing, you're competing with outsourcing, you're competing with AI. There are some big companies that think that AI can do the job of a junior developer. Or an entry-level developer. They say, oh, we don't need that. We can use AI for that.
That's a good premise.
They think that. And I mean, they're not wrong, right? Like, there's a lot of talented AI that could do these jobs and automation that can do these jobs and agents that can do these jobs. So all that's competition for the new developer trying to enter the market. That's true. You have to have now an edge, right? A portfolio of projects that you've done. Perhaps you worked on an app in your free time that got a bunch of downloads and attention. You can't come in right out of college.
No experience, no nothing, no portfolio saying, hey, I want a job now.
You won't even get a look.
Got it.
Unless you know somebody.
Got it.
And even then, you might have a terrible time trying to get a look. Just because those people starting off, these companies, they don't have time to teach anymore. Like I said, when I got my first internship, they were teaching me everything. Now getting an internship means, hey, we got real projects we need you working on. So they need you productive as soon as possible. And starting off, you might not be that way yet. You need those internships. You need those hobbyist projects that you've worked on. You need all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're saying the jobs for the entry level people are going away due to AI. What are some? Are there any other negatives?
To AI or just the entry level jobs?
AI.
I would say it's probably probably entry level developers taking a hit because they're relying on it too much. If you're using AI to correct all of your code, to write all of your code, then you're not learning. You're not learning.
I agree. So one of my things I'm saying the AI, I'm seeing this in real time because AI is baked into a lot of RPA tools today, right? Mm-hmm. And so what it's doing is it's making the average person who I said already sucks, making them worse. It's making them worse because now they have even more of a tool of a
crutch.
Yes. So now you really don't bro, for example, so much of being a developer of any sort is debugging and troubleshooting errors. Right. It's understanding what an error message means when you see that hoe, and then knowing what to do with it.
Exactly.
They don't even know that. They're taking a screenshot of the error message and putting it in ChatGPT and saying, "Hey, tell me what this means and what should I do?" Right? So it's making the average developer worse, which to me is great because that means my competitions is even worse. Like I don't even need to be that great. What do they say? If you're ever in the jungle and you're being chased by a lion, like you don't have to be the fastest person. You just don't need to be the slowest one, right? They are just not good. They're not going to be able to keep up. And this crutch that they have of AI is only making them worse.
I mean, it's absolutely true. I mean, it's rampant now. They got tools for you to cheat on the interviews with AI. I had started grad school last year. Seriously.
I'm shocked.
I started grad school. I took 3 courses, made A's in all the courses.
Yeah.
But one of the things I saw all the time is when you're in grad school, you got to do discussion posts.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
So you read or watch some video and you write some discussion posts.
Yeah.
And everyone's supposed to comment on your post and make a post themselves and comment on other people's posts. And what I saw all the time was posts that had been written with AI.
I believe it.
And comments
that
have now been written with AI. And then the original poster now using AI to respond to the comments. So I said, well, damn, is the whole class?
I remember having classes like that. It's just because I remember someone make a post and then you had to comment, right? So it'd be like, this is a cool post. This is pretty.
I was like, the whole class is AI. Like, no humans is taking this class right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I think it's becoming too much of a crutch, I think. And I would, because it's kind of crazy because, like, you have to take advantage of AI. The technology is there.
Yes.
If you don't use it, you're going to fall behind. But if you use it too much, it's a knock on you, right? Like, it's a crutch. You're not learning.
Let's be more specific here.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you use it too much. I think that it's if you don't take the time to actually learn whatever the skill set is that you're using AI to help you with. Because there's memorizing some shit for a test, and then there's learning. The difference is how long you retain it and the depth of what it is that you're using it for, right?
Right.
I think if they're not really engaging in the skill set and they're just using AI to just do something for them, but they're not understanding the mechanisms behind what they're doing, that's when it becomes a crutch.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, you shouldn't rely on it to do your whole job.
Yes.
Because you're going to get interviewed by somebody like me, and I do interviews all the time for mid-level developers, not even junior. We don't hire juniors anymore.
Oh, wow.
It's out. Mid-level and up, that's all. And I can tell if I'm interviewing you and you're giving me an AI response you've typed up and I can tell. How
many interviews do you think you have to do to find one quality candidate?
I mean, by the time they've gotten to me, they've went through a couple of rounds.
Got it.
But I would say my team probably fields a lot of candidates.
So 50 of them before they make it to you, or 20 before one makes it to you, 10 before one makes it
probably
to you?
Probably like 15 or so before they make it to me.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah. I love that number because that means most people suck. And it doesn't take that much, bro. Right? It doesn't take... And here's another thing. This is a slightly different topic. I have people who are in RPA University and I'm trying to, help them get employed and things like that. And one of the things they'll say is like, they'll be on an interview and someone will ask them a question and they don't know the answer. And they're just terrified of looking like they don't know. So they just like make up things. And I'm like, bro, stop doing that. Just say, yeah, I don't know that. I don't have experience with that. What are your thoughts on that?
Totally agree. Please do that. Because if you start trying to make up some answer, you can't fool me. I know you're talking around it, or I know you're buying time so you can Google it and then spit that back to me. But then you spit it back to me and it sounds robotic because you're reading it. You know, like just tell me you don't know it, and we can move on to the next question. There might be something else you know.
Are you ever expecting someone to know everything?
No, because I don't even know everything. You know,
look into the camera and say that again, please.
I don't even know everything. There's times where I'm doing an interview and maybe the director said, hey, here's a set of questions you want to ask them. I'm like, I don't even know half this stuff, you know, because I'm not going to use this in my day-to-day job. And so those things I don't ask.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. That's so important, bro. People think they need to know. I'm like, bro, there's no one who knows everything. Tech is too big. It's too vast. There's too many different pieces and technologies. You just need to know the one thing that you know at a deep level.
Right.
And then have other people in your network that know other things.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Okay. So let's talk about the upsides of AI. What do you think are some of the positives in terms of the changes in the industry and the people who are either working in the industry or wanting to get into the industry that AI is a part of?
Wow. I think there's a lot of great things, especially for learning new technologies. Like historically, I'm an Android developer, but I dabble with iOS quite a bit. And a lot of times I'm not the sharpest on iOS, and there's bugs in my code and I just simply don't know why. And so those are classes that I copy and paste. And
that's a good one right there.
Yeah.
You just said it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because wanting to know why I got this bug and wanting AI to just fix this bitch for me are two totally different things.
Exactly. And if you prompt it that way, hey, this is having this bug. This is what I see in the logs. Can you tell me why this is happening? Or don't say just fix it. Tell me why it's happening. Then I understand why.
Yeah.
That makes me a better iOS developer.
Do you ever have it like break it down in like simple terms and very simple analogies so that you can understand the why?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good approach. So I use it for that. I use it for learning. It's a learning tool.
Got it. Yeah. Now these people are not trying to learn.
No, I don't have it doing the work. It's doing the learning for me. And then also I have it doing some mundane tasks, right? Like writing unit tests or writing code documentation. Some of these.
So I'm hearing you say it helps with the speed of someone learning something.
Exactly. AI makes me more efficient developer, and it makes again a faster developer as well. Those are really high on the pluses of AI. Those things. I'm more efficient and I'm faster.
Any other benefits?
I would say those are the main things for me personally. It makes me faster. It helps me learn as well. I use it as a learning tool.
Okay, so it sounds like it's terrible. I'm hearing you say it's all bad news for entry level people, and then but it's great for you.
Yeah, I almost think no, because like I have strong fundamentals.
Yeah,
and I think that if you get into AI too early and rely on it to do your work for you, you're robbing yourself of learning how to debug code or learning, how to write efficient code yourself. I mean, if you use it correctly, it could be, very beneficial, I think.
Okay. So then before I get to the last question of what do you think someone who's new what should do, I'm curious, man. Tell me about your worst interview coming up in tech.
Oh, God. You know what? I know for a fact my worst interview. You remember a long time ago there was a game called it's called like Animal Farm. It was some game on Facebook where you could have farms and all this stuff with animals. Anyway, so I have a rule. I'll never say anything negative about myself during an interview.
Okay.
Okay. I'll never say anything negative.
This is about to be funny as fuck.
Like they'll say something like,
"Tell me a weakness."
Yeah, tell me you're never going to get me to knock on myself. You know what I mean? So anyway, I had this very early interview with this company. I can't think of the name of the company, but they made games. It was a gaming company, and I went through the interview. Literally got every question wrong. I mean, these were just black and white questions. It wasn't like a subjective question. And they were asking me these questions. It was like algorithm type questions.
Got it. Oh, okay. I understand.
Where
I understand.
Where it's A or B, you know. And at the end, he was like, so how'd you do? How you think you did, Malcolm? And I, with a straight face,
What'd you say?
Oh, I think I did great. I think I did great. I can't wait to be a part of the team. Literally spent an hour bombing the interview. Every question wrong. Every question wrong.
Did you know you were getting them wrong?
I knew it.
Okay. Oh, but so you just lied at the end.
The only question I got right was, "What's your name?"
Okay.
That was it.
What was his response when you?
No, he looked at me. He was like, "Oh, really?" He could not believe. And again, you're never gonna get me to say something negative about myself. So yeah, I did great in that interview.
That's funny as fuck.
According to him.
That is hilarious. So he just seconded. He's like, "Yeah, bro, you did great."
No, he just looked at me. No. He in disbelief.
Okay, so now tell me.
Got every question wrong.
So tell me on the other side, what was one of your best interviews? Like, tell me about an interview. I really want to know what happened at the end to where, like, because, sometimes people do interviews and they don't want to let you know at the end that you did too well, that they don't want to let you know what was one interview where you did where, like, they gave you immediate feedback? Like, yeah, nah, bro, like, you're him and we want you.
I've had interviews where by the end of the interview, I literally felt like I was their boss. Like
you knew more than them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like they've even said that. Well, yeah, we don't know what else we can ask you. You seem to know more than us. Like there's been interviews where at the end, really they've known like this guy, he's dominated us. He knows more than us. There's not much more we can ask him. Mm-hmm. And I've had when I get to that point, then I know I got him.
Okay.
I know I got him at that point.
I like it.
And at that point, I'm just waiting for the offer.
I love it. I love it.
I got to that point.
What did you do, or when do you feel as though you honed your interviewing skills? Because I tell people that's actually the hardest part about getting into tech. I know people who. So would you agree with that first? That's the hardest part.
It is very hard.
Okay.
Yes. Tech interviews are historically very hard.
They are, especially if you're doing it with the technical people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I know people who are great at coding, bro, but they stay at one job for 15, 20 years because they hate interviewing, right? Mm-hmm. How did you refine your interviewing process?
You got to do more interviews.
Yeah,
you got to get out of there. Like, you can't learn how to play basketball by watching it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You got to go out there and play yourself. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have some of these bad ones where you don't know any answers. Mm-hmm. And I would say interviewing has gotten much harder than it used to be.
It is.
Because now the interviewers are using AI.
Yep.
They're analyzing your face and is he switching screens while he's typing stuff. Mm-hmm. So you got to practice. I think if you can watch someone else interview,
bro, that's so important.
Or do interviews yourself, you got to see. Like there's videos of people interviewing. If you could, take a raw shotgun on an interview and watch someone interview.
Yeah.
You've got to do more of them.
I think that is actually the cheat code. Because like imagine playing a sport, right? But you play it not even one-on-one. It's just you. Right. Almost like running track. Yeah. But no one's ever next to you. Mm. So you never get to know anyone else's time until it's all over with. That's what interviewing is like to me. Yeah, you don't even know if you're good because you have nothing to compare yourself to if you never get to see anyone else. Right. I still believe this. I am a hell of an interviewer. I'm charismatic. I'm a people person. I'm influential. Right. And I'm very good at what I do. And I met a guy recently, just this past year, and I saw him interview. I'm like, bro, you're a fucking beast. I'm finna steal that and that and that and that. But like, if I don't get to see that, then it makes it hard for me to improve because I think I'm already great. Likewise, imagine you suck and you think you're great. You're just doomed, bro. You're absolutely doomed. Okay, so I want to ask one more fun question before we get out of here. As someone, I didn't know you were interviewing engineers often.
Yeah, I interview people a lot.
What would you say are the top 2 to 3 things that you see someone do in an interview that like they just didn't know any better? Like they should stop doing this because this is hurting their chances.
In 2023, I interviewed a guy that vaped during my interview.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's probably on the wilder side.
That is a wild, yeah.
He's interviewing and every now and then he's just puffing that vape. I say,
he probably stressed.
Yeah. I mean, interviews are stressful.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things to remember is that like I'm doing a lot of these interviews and I'm not really taking it that serious. Like I'm not really nitpicking everything you say. Like make the interaction enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll remember you.
Yes.
Because I'm not expecting you to know everything on the paper. And I will tell you to this day, I've never interviewed someone that knew every single item on the paper that we wanted.
And you've hired many of people.
Exactly.
Okay.
So make it memorable.
Make it memorable. How do you recommend they do that? Probably attitude, demeanor.
Attitude, being real positive, being able to speak to similar things you've done in your career. Like, for example, if we're building a travel app, say, oh yeah, I work for this other travel company, or I did a freelance project with travel, and try to find some common ground, right?
Okay.
I think that's a real powerful thing to do, like to build rapport with the interviewer. Okay.
So second to last question, and I'm gonna ask you, what do you think people should do? What's the wildest story that you can tell that you've like seen or been a part of in tech? Like maybe if you tell it, no one even believes you because it's just like, bro, you can't make this shit up.
Well, I would tell you. So I used to work these multiple. I don't do this anymore. I used to work multiple contracts at a time, and I had a program on my computer that allowed me to switch my email accounts.
Okay.
And so one of the things, I made this huge mistake. I would email one company from another company's email account.
You did this multiple times?
Huh? What do you mean?
You did it like you didn't make this mistake once, or you did it multiple times?
I made the mistake once.
Okay.
And that's all it took.
Okay.
You gotta be organized. You gotta be organized. But I mean, man, listen. People, I think they call it, overemployed? Is that the word for it?
I guess so, yeah.
You're going to have opportunities to do that, but you got to be organized.
Yes.
Like, you've got to be organized, and you got to be great at time management. And I'm not saying you should do overemployment. You can get into some trouble, but make sure you're real organized with that.
Okay. No, but you might as well tell us the whole story. So you sent an email from one account to another. What was it? What happened after that?
Wow, I don't even want to say the name of the company.
Don't say the name of the company.
But I was working with a popular streaming app company.
Okay.
And working with another company. And I had a meeting, and I said, I was late because I was in another meeting for another company.
I hate that. That's stressful.
And so I sent an email, hey, I'm running a little late. It came from the other company. And then, listen.
This is before unsend was a feature?
Oh, man, you only got a couple seconds to unsend something.
Okay.
If you don't get it fast enough and you don't know. So anyway, I said, I can't make it. I'm running late from another company. And then I finally joined the meeting late.
Don't tell me you joined from the wrong link.
I joined from the other company. Listen, I joined from the other company's email account, and it showed the other company's logo in the Zoom chat.
Oh my God. Did they fire you?
Yes, they did fire me. Yeah, they did fire me. Yeah.
Hey, that's what you got to take to the chin. You can't tell nobody about it.
Yeah, I know, man. I was like, God damn, man.
What did you do that night? I know you was hurt. What did you do that night?
You know what? Honestly, the market was so good, I didn't care.
Okay.
I was like, I'll just find another one, and I did.
That's the best place to be. That's best place to be.
Now, I don't think it's like that now.
Yeah.
But at the time, okay, whatever. But man, I was like, how did that happen?
That is hilarious.
Because Zoom used to be.
That's embarrassing.
This was back when Zoom was like first starting. And you ever heard these stories about people on Zoom calls and then a random person joins the Zoom call? Yeah. It used to have less security. So you could join with any email.
That was happening during COVID.
Exactly. Yeah. It was happening during COVID. And so you were able to join meetings you weren't invited to. And I joined a meeting with an unauthorized email because it was allowed. And
got it.
And so they improved it since then. But I was so embarrassed, man.
That is so embarrassing.
I was like, man.
Okay, last question is, what did they say when you first appeared on the call? Like, did they notice it before that you signed in from the wrong email, or did you notice?
So first? So first of all, I'm there on camera. Okay. Like, I work remote for a number of years. I don't get on camera. You can't make me. I don't do it.
Okay.
So when I joined, people were like, "Who is this? Who is this?" Because I didn't say anything. I just joined to listen in. So I'm late.
Oh man.
And so people were like, "Who is this? Malcolm, is that you? Why is your email blah blah?" I was like, damn. I was like, oh man.
Oh goodness, I appreciate you telling that story because a lot of people in tech don't want to keep it real, bro.
Man,
so I appreciate you sharing that. We got to wrap up because we got less than 5 minutes left. So please look at the camera. Tell the people, as someone who's been in the tech industry now, what is it over 20 years?
Damn.
Because I got started in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, I got started in 2009. So
it's close to 20 years, right? You're old as fuck.
Yeah.
Please look in the camera and like assume that you're talking to someone who is, because here's my audience. My audience are husbands. Mm-hmm. They're already making six figures, right? The wife already makes 60, 70, 80,000. They make about 200 together. They've got kids. And this guy has been desperately trying to get into the industry. He just doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Right.
You, with all your years of experience, assuming you're talking to someone who knows nothing, what steps would you tell them to take? And what would you tell them to avoid doing?
I would probably say, I know you want to get money, but don't make this career about money. Because what's going to happen is you're going to run into a candidate like me where it's easy to see the passion and it's easy to distinguish someone who's in it for the passion. And that's the people they want to hire. So I would say anyone starting now, start a passion project, whether it be an RPA project you want to do, maybe you want to automate something with your taxes, or a mobile app you want to build. Start a passion project that you can work on for yourself. That way, when you get in these interviews, you can talk at a very deep and intricate level about that project that you've done. And it kind of shows your knowledge, right? Like, no one wants to hire you because you're just reading books and doing, tutorials online, right? Go build something. Like, go build something. If you in the strip clubs, go build a strip club app or some some RPA thing that would go and get the strip club addresses or something like that. Like, go build something that you can talk at detail about during an interview or doing a random conversation.
And they'd probably be more excited.
Exactly.
About it. So
we can tell. Yeah. We can tell.
So I'm hearing you say, like, go do something go learn how to do something that you currently don't know how to do, that you would enjoy doing.
Exactly.
And then bring that knowledge and that passion to the interview and talk about that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Go get your hands dirty. Like,
Gotcha.
seriously. I mean, you can do all the coaching you want to do. You can do all the videos, all the tutorials. But if you ain't really went out there and built something and lived this career that you're trying to go do, people are going to tell. They're going to be able to tell. So go build something for yourself and get excited about that and bring that into your interviews and bring that into your career. Absolutely.
Well, you guys have heard it here first. This has been another episode. I am your host, AD, the RPA guy. This has been another video. If you are interested in getting into the tech space, click the link below. We're not just interested. If you're interested in getting into the tech space and you've already watched a number of my videos and you know me, you like me, you think I'm the coach for you, click the link in the description below to go join the waiting list. As of the recording of this video, enrollment is closed, so go join the waiting list. Or if you want a private one-on-one call, the link below is in the description as well. What I do not want you to do is to get on these calls looking for information. We're not doing that. Only book a call, okay? Only join the waiting list if you're sure that I, AD, am the guy who you want to do business with, okay? Also, if you like the masculinity content, all of those links are in the description below. I've been your host, AD, the RPA guy. Till next time, signing off. Peace.